And today it's my pleasure to welcome Ankur Bhatia to Showbiz India for the first time.
Thank you so much, and I'm honored to be here.
How has the whole industry changed with OTT versus theaters? What's your take on that?
I mean, I feel like it's a great time. I mean, you have known me for a while. I've done films, which are big films with big actors, name actors, stars in India. And I didn't get the kind of recognition that I got on through OTT, the medium of like web series. And so, I mean, so many people are getting chances in the industry now. As far as actors are concerned, technicians are concerned, everybody has ample work and they have got this platform to showcase their talent. And people are also very receptive. The audience are enjoying every bit of it. So I think it's a great time.
Aarya वापस आ गई है.
I love being back.
आदत मत डालना, हम इसी हफ्ते वापस जा रहे हैं.
वो इसीलिए आई है हम लोगों को सूली पे चढ़ाने.
Who's trying to kill you?
तू मेरी जान लेने की कोशिश कर रहा है सामरा.
And Ankur, tell me a little bit about your journey. You're from India, but you moved at a young age, and you were in mathematics, I believe. And so, what was?
Yes, I actually came to the US to pursue my master's in computer science, and that time Y2K had happened, so I moved to mathematics. And so basically, I was a hopper. I finished my computer science, then I moved to mathematics, then I moved to actuarial science, and I started working in mergers and acquisitions in New York on Wall Street. You know, it was just by a chance. Someone actually stopped me in the subway once when I was coming back from work, and they offered me a job in a movie. And they called me on Friday, and I thought it would be fun. It would be it would be a fun experience. I went there, and it turned out to be a hoax, and they were charging money to become, like, telling you how to become an actor. I'm like, throughout my life, I've heard about these kind of stories where people scamming people, and in New York that happens a lot. You know, they're model scouts, and how did I get into it? But you know what happened was, because being from a small town, Bhopal in India, I was never exposed to this kind of. I mean, I've always dreamt of being an actor, and I was always fascinated by movies and cinema. But I never had the courage, or that dream was too big for me to even dream of. My dream was to go to America. Now, suddenly, all those childhood memories has surfaced, and I wanted to be an actor. So I started my journey from short films. I did a lot of short films in New York while working. So for 2 years, I did independent cinema, short films with NYU folks and all. And then one of my NYU short film went to couple of different film festivals, but I won the Best Actor award in the NYU Tisch Film Festival. And that's when I realized that, okay, I'm somewhat ready to pursue this full-time, because part-time it was not going anywhere. I was only doing short films. I went to Bombay, I met Apurva Lakhia, our common friend. He was shooting Zanjeer at that time. And for 3 months I was there because he was already shooting, his casting was done, so there was nothing in the film. While I was coming back disheartened, I was like, okay, my dream of becoming an actor is pretty much 1 year has been gone, nothing has happened. So the last day I was coming, I had a flight from Bombay to New York, and I thought of meeting him and saying bye to him. I went to his office, and some casting thing had happened. Somebody had backed out, or something was going on in the office, and I could feel it. And suddenly he just offered me, do you want to play this part? It's a small part, but you know, there's a scene with Sanjay Dutt, there is a scene with Priyanka Chopra, Ram Charan, this, that, fight. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do, because I want to be the main actor. And this is like a henchman to a villain. Like, it's not even a proper villain, it's a henchman. But then I was like, I've never been exposed to this big of a film. I don't have any experience on a set. Why not I just take it?
सोच कर बोल खान, ये मेरा मोहल्ला है.
But that 10-day shoot eventually became 2 years, because Sanjay Dutt was going through his court cases at that time, so he didn't have dates, so certain things got pushed, and that movie the schedules kept getting pushed, and every time my shoot dates were required like 2 days after 3 months, so I would fly from New York again. So because of that, I could never get back to my job. And while doing that, I started learning on the set. So from there, that happened, that movie released, then I got Sarabjit.
ओए रुक जा, दलबीर, ओए पागल ना बन.
नहीं रुक सकती मैं. तू क्यों नहीं समझ रहा?
अरे नहीं समझ आता मैनू. दिन रात ओदे लिए पूजा पाठ करी है, खाना पीना छट के बैठी है. परिवार है ना ओदा. अब अपनी घर गृहस्थी और मेनू भी चट के जाना चाहनी है।
मुझे जाने दे उसके पास, हाथ छड़।
अगर आज मैंने तेरा हाथ छटता ना, फिर वापस कभी नहीं पकड़ूंगा।
But again, I was out of work for almost a year and a half. So then I decided I will do risky cinema, where I went and shot a film in Bengal with an indie film director. And it was a very rusty film, never got out. And I did a film for Ronnie Screwwala, RSVP production, never came out. And then I did one other film, which halfway through they stopped. So then I was like, unfortunately, I lost my mother to cancer that year. In 2018. So I was like, okay, now this is it. It has been like 6-7 years. If it had to happen, it would have happened. And then I packed my bags from Bombay and I moved back to New York. And then I got an agent here. I started auditioning here and I was like, okay, I'll start fresh. Now I know I've learned the craft. It cannot be that difficult. Now I will go to the LA at the right time. And while I was here, I get a call from India again, and they said that, we want you to test for this part in Aarya, and Ram Madhwani is making it. And I've heard of Mr. Ram Madhwani.
हम लोग हेरोइन में डील नहीं करते, हम इलीगल दवाइयों का धंधा करते हैं.
If you don't leave this business, I'll divorce you.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
मेरा 300 करोड़ का कंसाइनमेंट चोरी हो गया है. उसका कर्ज आप नहीं चुकाएंगे तो कौन चुकाएगा?
What a wonderful story this is, Ankur, for so many aspirants who give up, and it's not easy. You have to stay focused. You have to stay with it.
Not easy at all. It's not easy because you're continuously under stress. I mean, even now, now that I have good amount of work has come out. As an actor, you're constantly living under stress because it's always what next, or it's just never-ending process,
हम जैसे खतरनाक दिखने वाले तो कुंवारे ही रह जाएंगे. लड़की शक्ल देखते ही मना कर देगी. 10 सालों से काम कर रहा हूँ. क्या सोच रही हो?
ये जो हीरो फिल्मों में उड़ते हैं, आप भी उड़ सकते हो?
सिर्फ उड़ना? अरे पानी पे दौड़ सकता हूँ, आग से गुजर सकता हूँ, एक छत से दूसरी छत तक ये मोटरसाइकिल पे जा सकता हूँ. आदमी से नहीं, अजूबे से शादी की है आपने.
Let's talk about Aarya. I absolutely loved it. I binge watched it and your character was fantastic. What was it working with the beautiful Sushmita Sen like?
To be honest, I was so low at that point when I got onto Aarya. I lost literally all hopes of my acting career because, I was trying so hard to get a big film and then it didn't work out and it was opposite Shraddha Kapoor and all. And so there have been highs also, but this time, for some reason, and because I lost someone very important to my life, I gained that kind of sensibility and maturity when I went to Aarya. And I had read about Sangram, my character, and I was focused and all. To be honest, I was not kind of shaken when I saw Sushmita Sen. I saw her as Aarya. In fact, a very funny incident happened when I met Sushmita. The person who was Vinod Rawat, he's a director also in Aarya. He was taking a workshop. So the minute he saw me, he introduced me to Sushmita Sen, and he didn't give too much time to ice break. It was like, okay, fine, let's do this thing. We are not going to read the lines. Why don't you just talk to each other, but end every sentence with a swear word? You have to do a curse word on every end of the line. And, being from Bhopal and studied in college and all, and she's very polished. So we started doing that. And in 5 minutes, her face was red because my curse words were going in another level, right? And then I was getting scared, but, I was in the character. And by the 5 minutes gone into it, she stopped it and she's like, I don't want to do this. And she took a break. And so I told the director, she's going to throw me out of the project because of you. Let me talk to her. So I go out, I go out for 5 minutes to just chit chat with her. We sat for almost about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then when we came back to the room, it was Aarya and Sangram. And since then, I don't know what happened in that conversation because after that, I never looked back to how we started.
बड़ी है तो तेरी चलेगी ना हमेशा.
तू भी तो छोटा है, कभी तो सुन लिया कर.
It's palpable, your chemistry. It's great.
She's very rich as a human, the depth of her as an individual is too much. There's too much to absorb, and you can't actually absorb everything at once. She has layers. She's like, it's like, she's also a school. So whenever I have worked with her, not in terms of just as an actor, but as a human also, the way she behaves, the way she conducts herself, the way she speaks, you can learn a lot in every angle, in every aspect,
Absolutely.
And there are very few people that I've seen like that.
Yes, she's definitely one of a kind.
मुझे एक भरोसे वाला आदमी चाहिए जो काम खत्म कर सके. है तुम्हारे पास?
ऐसा एक ही इंसान है जिस पे आप भरोसा कर सकते हैं.
तुम.
अपने पंजे फिर से बाहर निकालो.
I'd like to talk to you about Tali. What a bold subject about transgender. I don't want you to give the plot away, but tell me a little bit about this project.
My first reaction, like anyone else, was like, why are you doing this? Like, it's like you playing a transgender. After Aarya, it's like literally 360 degrees, poles apart, the characters. And, it is kind of like a subject which would be probably frowned upon and looked at why she is doing it. And while, I had that thing in the beginning when she started talking about the subject and the story of Gauri Sawant, the character that she's playing, it really shook me. And I was taken aback by, okay, in this day and age, I am so educated, I'm learned, I've traveled across the globe, and I have no idea that this is what happens to transgenders in India. Until a few years back, there was no law that they couldn't get a ration card, they couldn't get basically there's even dogs and animals have census reports in India that they have an idea of how many dogs are there or how many particular animals are there in a particular city. They had no census for transgenders. And so basically, it's appalling how in this day and age you can take away all the rights a transgender should probably have as a human. And that's why, and while going through the story, she said, there is this character Naveen, who is a gay activist and is the biggest supporter of Gauri Sawant. And I would really love for you to read it. And me being like trying to targeting all the alpha male roles in the industry, trying to be the bad guy. Like, but then when I read it, I'm like, this will be a challenge because nobody would probably expect me to do this part. And as an actor, this would just give me an opportunity to explore another layer of me as an actor also and kind of showcase something, because I have played husband, I've played a brother, I've played the bad guy, I've played the nuisance man. I've never played something like this, and it's something that I want to add to my resume as an actor. And I want to represent these people because I just felt helpless, like how helpless these people feel to try and get the acceptance in the society. And so that's where I came, and we shot it, and it has come out beautifully.
So is this based on true stories?
It is. It's based on Gauri Sawant, who's a transgender, who's in India and who fought for the rights for transgenders, and she had won. And it's celebrating her basically through this web series.
And what else can we look forward to? You're headed back to Mumbai in a few days?
Yes, I'm supposed to start a new film. Unfortunately can't talk about it much because it has already been pushed twice. So now just working on it. My recent film, Bloody Daddy, just came out a few weeks back. Another film of mine, Operation Mayfair, had just come in. That's with Jimmy Shergill. Now I'm looking forward to Tali with Sushmita Sen. That'll come out on Geo. And then hopefully by that time I'll be starting to shoot this film. And this one is a love romantic thriller.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we wish you continued success, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reshma.
पंजे बाहर निकालो, शेरनी की तरह.
तो पहले क्यों नहीं संभाला तूने हमारा धंधा? क्योंकि पहले धंधा मर्द संभालते थे, अब बचे नहीं.
Hotstar Specials presents Aarya.